Now, the super delegates are at the actual Democratic National Convention, which is after the whole primary is over. If Bernie Sanders doesn't get a majority of pledged delegates from every state, they'll be able to swoop in and add in the super delegates, which total in something like, I think, 400 some, to the total. And if they're able to overtake him that way, he will not be given the nomination, despite winning a plurality of delegates. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Forecasting right now has totally swung in Bernie Sanders' favor after the win
Bernie won.
Yeah,
Bernie won. The interesting
it's a shit show otherwise. Like, as far as I'm concerned, there's two ways to look at it. He won because he obviously had more people vote for him. And the other thing to look at is that the whole thing's a shit show. And if anybody who says that Pete Buttigieg won is literally doing so because they trust this obviously corrupt and incompetent process. And fuck that. Like, Bernie Sanders obviously won this.
Exactly. The interesting thing is like, I don't even care like if I sound like a conspiracy theorist. This is a fucking psyop.
Go for it.
It's a fucking,
be a conspiracy theorist.
Like, it's a fucking psyop, and it's so obviously a fucking psyop. Like, fucking Buttigieg or whatever the fuck his name is has like ties to the CIA. And the CIA,
to McKinsey, yeah.
Yeah, and the CIA is notorious for like installing Democratic candidates, especially when there's like
especially when they seem like they've been grown in a fucking tube the way he does.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, they're trying to put him forward as like the ideal sort of like millennial candidate. They have an identity. They have an identity category that they can also exploit. He also it has ties to the fucking CIA. Like, I think this is a psyop. I think it's all a fucking spook.
He reminds me of okay, so imagine you have this like lab in the CIA or the FBI or whatever, and they're like, we need to make a US Tony Blair. I feel like that's what they're trying to do with Pete Buttigieg.
It's so true. Like it's fucking insane to me because they're trying to make it seem like he's this internet savvy memeable president. Like, they announced Pete Buttigieg had won his premature kind of victory lap or whatever, and they had all these like millennial actors, the crisis actors that Alex Jones is always talking about, like fucking
a large number of actors that they had. They brought in the actors to celebrate the Pete Buttigieg win.
They were like hugging each other and crying, and I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, to make it seem as if he's this like beloved like millennial hero in the same way that like Obama was kind of embraced by millennials in 2008 and stuff. And it's just like disgusting to watch this sort of psyop like play out. And like, honestly, I don't give a shit if I sound like a conspiracy theorist. The Dems aren't the biggest threat here. The fucking deep state is what is the biggest threat here. Like, all the different wings and arms of the American power structure that aren't necessarily linked to the electoral process, whether that be the tech companies, billionaires, the military industrial complex, the intelligence agencies. They're going to do all that they can do in their power to subvert a Bernie Sanders win. And they're going to directly meddle through whatever means necessary, whether it be through technology or through money or whatever the fuck, to ensure, or through psyops, to ensure that Bernie doesn't secure the candidacy.
On the plus side, I think that is proof that Bernie is actually on our side.
Yeah.
100%.
I think we've got our proof.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, the way they bungled, like, they totally just, there's not going to be an Iowa caucus in the future. That's done. There's no caucusing that's there. It's going to be a straight primary, I promise you, next time.
There's not going to be parties. There's not going to be money. We're going to live in an anarchist society.
Yeah. If only.